Nowadays, we all want remote jobs. We want to have the flexibility to work from wherever we want, whenever we want, and we want to make good money. So, whenever someone says that they work from home or that they have a remote job, oftentimes at the beginning, when we don't have any experience with that, we're like, where are they getting these jobs from? What do they know how to do? What's their career? What's their profession? We're asking ourselves all these questions because it's something that, even though it's spoken about a lot, we don't really see it as much, or it's hard to get into. So I wanted to share a story of a friend or a coworker from one of my first remote jobs, and how he did it, why he found a way, or how he found a way to get his job, and how he's killing it even to this day. So this guy basically was a graphic designer who specialized in creatives for e-commerce brands, and he also knew how to create email marketing campaigns. So he was very talented at doing those two things, and he had a basic English. But the main thing about him is that he knew how to apply to jobs and how to relate himself to people in order to find these roles. So my friend was basically from the Philippines, and even though you think that he wasn't earning as much, or that he was probably getting paid less than what an American employee would get, it probably is to some degree, but he was making at some point over $3,000 working from home, which in a lot of places in the US or in other first world countries is a solid wage to just stay at home and to work. I'm sure that there's a lot of people around the world that would do anything to get that amount of money, even in the US, where making $3,000 a month could be considered on the low end. So this guy was basically really good at graphic design. He knew basic English, and he specialized in something. He specialized in creatives for e-commerce. And that, I think, is one of the most important lessons to find a remote job or a remote role. You need to specialize in something, in some industry, and start looking for roles in that area, in those types of businesses. Because once you specialize, you understand what the businesses in that industry are looking for. Once he became really good at that, it was easy for him to find jobs that were willing to pay good amounts of money for people who knew how to make designs really well. I really believe in surrounding ourselves with people who are in roles that we want to be in. It's important to really have an environment that encourages us to grow and to find the things that we really want to achieve. Putting this story out, I'm sure it's gonna attract people that are trying to find their first remote job. And even if the people watching a video don't know who this person is, the story and the testimonial is something that is encouraging. Because when I was looking for my first role, it really took a long time to find that job. After applying for months, I remember that it was really difficult, and towards the end, it was almost like a struggle. Should I keep looking for a job that's fully online? And then I got one. I found one job. I had like multiple rounds of interviews, and I found one. And it wasn't even the best job, but it honestly was a big difference having to go into an office versus being able to get up and go to a coffee shop or go to a gym, somewhere where there's like a lobby area where you can just sit down and do your work. It was very, very cool, and it was something that I've always been really grateful for, because when I had to go to the same place every day, it honestly got really tiresome. And it can honestly be a luxury just to be able to live like that and to be able to work from anywhere. So these roles are only getting competitive, and that's totally fine. That makes sense, because even roles or jobs that are in person that are worth it are very competitive. So anything that's good in the professional side of things, or even in life in general, is gonna be challenging. That doesn't mean that we should just not attempt to achieve it, or to get the things that we want. I think surrounding ourselves with people who are in those positions and who had to go through what we go through at the beginning just to find those roles is very important. So that story, it was really interesting to me, because this guy was basically able to sustain his family from a third world country just because he learned a skill, he specialized in an industry, and he knew how to speak English. And he was making the same amount of money that someone in a first world country was making. So that to me is very valuable. It's definitely possible. You just have to specialize in something, learn skills, apply a lot, connect and network with people on LinkedIn. I would say that's probably the best platform to find a remote role, because you can go into companies, you can see who works there, you can see the skills or requirements that they look for in certain roles. I feel like LinkedIn is also one of the platforms with the least amount of scams, so that's also valuable. But yeah, honestly, finding a remote role is as hard as finding a good job in person. That's why people say it's very competitive, that it's hard, that these roles aren't available anymore. But I don't think remote jobs are going away. In fact, I think there's going to be more opportunities towards the future as all these tools like AI become more available for people. If anything, there's going to be more roles for those who are willing to adapt and to learn the skills that are necessary in order to find these jobs. And yeah, I don't think remote jobs are going anywhere. And from my experience, it's one of the coolest things in this era. That to me is very valuable. Other people like going to the office, but it all depends on what you want. But if you're looking for that specifically, that's definitely something that you should look into. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole thing from the story. So I just thought it was something cool that a lot of people that maybe are looking for their first role want to hear, some words of encouragement, or to know someone that already has one of these roles and are in those positions. So it's definitely possible and a really cool experience to live in.